Hello, viewers. This is another podcast by me, Terra Firma. It's going to be a lot more organized this time, I hope, because I actually did some research about some shit and took some notes about something I'm really interested in, and that is pyramids. Pyramids, how old our civilization actually is, and stuff like that. Most of my information was taken from Graham Hancock. I will link his website at the bottom. And also, I'm going to refer to some pictures that are on that website if you just click gallery. I guess I can just have the link go straight to gallery. So yeah, let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about... Maybe I can put my phone here. Yeah, I'm recording this on my phone, by the way. Oh, perfect. This is nice. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the ancient Egyptians, which are actually referred to as the Zeptepi, actually don't even recognize themselves as the beginning of their civilization or their story. Like they thought of themselves as like a late part of their culture, you know, like their everything, their civilization. They thought it was the end already. But hang on a second. But I mean, like new scientists and fucking archaeologists and shit, they don't want to listen to that. They're like, oh no, they were wrong, you know, they don't know what they were talking about, and it's just really annoying. Like, I don't know, I'll get into that. I'll get into more of that later. 1 second. Oh, this is cola beer, by the way, for the Americans out there. For the American viewers amongst you. It's a German thing, and it's actually weird as fuck at first, the first time you drink it, but then it gets better. Like, you get used to it and you start to like it, and you don't feel like an alcoholic if there's cola in it, right? So, I digress. Where are we at here? Okay, so what I was basing that information on, with the civilization being wiped out and all that, what I'm basing that on is strictly the Zeptepi. Like, go ahead and Wikipedia them. But they lived on an island, and in a flood. They say, some people say that they lived on an island and like a flood came and wiped them all out. So like even they say something happened, you know, and they themselves, the Zeptepi, they themselves say that they're 30,000 years old. They themselves say that. So why aren't scientists listening to them? Like, nah, you don't know shit about your own civilization. We got these machines that say what we want, and, you know, whatever. That's just my take on it. You can disagree. Leave a comment. Another thing I want to talk about with the Egyptians has to be the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know if y'all have heard of the Ark of the Covenant, but it's like all over the very beginning of the Bible. Like, no shit, right? Because we're talking about stuff that's like really a long ass time ago. I'm referring to stuff that's at least 10,000 years old, you know? So, I mean, what else do you have to rely on? You know, the Bible was pretty much all there is. It is pretty much all there is to rely on it. There is more when you delve into like astronomy and stuff. I'll get into that later. But my point is, the Bible talks about this Ark of the Covenant, and it's obviously nuclear if you read about it. You know, it's like, I don't know. Just Google it real quick. Just Google what the Ark of the Covenant does. If you look it up, it's just, if you touch it, you die. The Israelites that were using it in battle were saying that it was flying through the air. The box was opened once on accident or on purpose. I don't know. Look it up. I don't give a shit. But anyway, it was open. That's all that matters. And 50,000 people died of cancerous tumors. Maybe that was the flood that was talked about in the ancient Egyptian theory. You know, or ancient Egyptian history. When they were writing their own history, they didn't know how to say some nuclear reactor opened up and killed everybody, you know? So they were just like, it was a flood. You know, they didn't know how to describe it, probably. trippy shit. I'm sorry. I digress. So this thing was dangerous as hell, right? So the House of Solomon was built to house it. And then, like, nobody's seen it since then. Like, I guess it might have gotten... It was stolen once and used as a weapon to kill a bunch of more people. And, like, nobody knows exactly where it is now. But this guy, Graham Hancock is, I don't know, he's so many things. He's, like, a scientist, archaeologist, conspiracy theory guy. He does everything. And, what was I getting at here? Oh, he believes that the Ark of the Covenant is actually in Ethiopia. And his theory why is because Ethiopia is the only place where, like, they still worship it, like in the Old Testament. Like, they're still, like, sacrificing people and stuff. And, like, they have, like, 20,000 churches in Ethiopia. And all of them have at least some form of, like, a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. All of them have it. And Ethiopia is the only people that worship it. And Graham Hancock actually visited Ethiopia. And he visited so many churches and stuff. And he talked to a monk that said he had it. Just saying. And nobody can see it, obviously. It's possible. I mean, I'm just saying, it's possible. Maybe nobody can see it because it's like a nuclear reactor that's like in some kind of special housing or something. I don't know. But maybe we should start believing people. That's all I'm saying. We could have lost an entire civilization off of that nuclear reactor, you know? If that's what it sounds like it is. And like, if you're gonna, who do you want to believe, you know? Like, are you gonna say the Bible is fiction and that all of these accounts of the Ark are lies, that it was opened and it blew people up? I mean, yeah, you could say that's fiction, but it also could have happened. It could have happened. Nobody understood it. It was a piece of equipment that was not in its time. It could have happened. It just, they didn't know how to describe it. They were just like, hey, we found this box and it's killing shit. Another thing I wanted to look at is, let's go ahead and move on to a slightly different topic. What I want to talk about is the Temple of the Phoenix. Okay, everybody knows what the Temple of the Phoenix is. It's like the pharaoh with a lion's body, and it's really old. Okay, maybe not everybody knows what it is. Let me look it up real quick to make sure I'm talking about the right thing. Sorry about this. Just listen to the music, man. Just listen to the music. It's Tool, by the way. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what it is. Oh, my bad. It's actually a fucking temple. I'm sorry about that. I sound like so illiterate right now. Like, why am I even making this vlog if I don't even know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry. But it's a temple. Hence, Temple of the Phoenix. I'm retarded. I know. You can... Bring the downvotes. Bring the downvotes. Anyway, Temple of the Phoenix was a temple, okay? I'm trying to like Google it. I'm getting Mormon temples. Okay, forget it. Just forget it. There's a Mormon temple in LDS or in Phoenix, Arizona, though. Just saying. All right, I'll get around to it. All right. Anyways, Temple of the Phoenix. Let's stay on topic here. Sorry. Apologize for that. There's water erosion on the Temple of the Phoenix, okay? And historians are saying that it's only like 5,000 years old. 4,500, actually. And that 4,500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, that's a lot. It's a long time. Current research suggests that the Temple of the Phoenix is 4,500 years ago, or 1,000 years old. That's when it was built. But here's the thing, there's this water erosion on it. If you look at the difference between water erosion and like sand and wind erosion, there's a huge difference. You can tell it's definitely water erosion. But here's the thing, 4,500 years ago, 4,500 years ago, it was just as bone dry in Egypt and around the Temple of Ephesus. It was just as bone dry as it is today. So, I mean, where the hell did this water erosion come from? Well, if you look at where the sea levels would have been a lot further back, I'm talking like 10, maybe 10,000, 8,000 years ago. If you look at that, that's where the sea level was. That's where, or not, sorry, not sea level, but that, I'll get into that. That's about a different monument. I'm sorry. Back then, 10,500 BC, that whole region, you know, the Nile Valley, had just thousands of cubic meters of rainfall, like just intense, and that's how the erosion would have gotten there. So what I'm saying is, I mean, if you have to go back at least 9,000 years to get the rainfall to cause that erosion, I mean, that means it's even older than that. And scientists are saying that we're only 5,000 years old. Like, no, I don't think so. And then, and there's also like not just the biblical or geographical aspect, but there's also like just if you look at the positioning of them, of the Giza Plateau, there's computer programs that can show you where the stars were positioned like 30,000 years ago or 60,000 years ago. They can show you however the stars were positioned from whatever point of Earth that you want to view them from. And if you look at it, the Phoenix was gazing at Leo in the stars in 10,000 BC. And at the same time, 90 degrees south, Orion was laying at the meridian, at exactly the pattern of the pyramids on the ground. I almost want to look at it like maybe we had another civilization and they knew something was coming, and like their only way of communicating to us was like, hey, we found north and south for you. You know, that might be far-fetched, but it's just kind of how I see it. Like, it's like an ancient civilization was like marking themselves, like building something like this was us, and this is how you can tell. Like, look, we found the stars and shit, and we made shit perfect, obviously. Which is another thing I want to talk about. I can find his name. I wrote it down here somewhere. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself now. But something I want to point out is that, I'm just going to look at it while I'm talking here. The pyramids were built perfectly, okay? They were just damn perfect. Like, everybody knows that. Like, if there was just one little mistake somewhere at the top of the pyramid, it just wouldn't work. It would just be all fucked up looking on the top, and then, perfect on the bottom still. And then, so people are saying, like, oh, well, the Egyptians weren't perfect, they made mistakes. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. The good pyramids, the pyramids that are perfect, were actually in the beginning, like actually at the start, like geologically, they're the oldest. The perfect pyramids are the oldest. The newer pyramids are the ones that have the mistakes in them. And you got to think to yourself, how can that be? It's like, why would you just get really damn good at something and then start fucking it up, Like, but you would think that they would get better, No, they started fucking up as time went, which kind of leads me to believe that they learned something from, like, themselves a long time ago. A lost civilization, something was destroyed, and they kept on trying to do it anyways, and it just wasn't happening. All the smart people died. All the dumb people kept fucking and making more babies. That kind of shit, alright? And then something else I want to point out. Hold on a second. Something else I want to, like, shoot down is how, like, the scientists are kind of saying, like, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Hold on a second. The scientists are saying, well, look, if the pyramids are 10,000 years old, where's all the other shit? Like, where did it go? Like, if they're 10,000 years old, where's everything else that was 10,000 years old? Well, here's the thing. There are things that are 10,000 years old. After scientists said that, we discovered a giant circle in Turkey, which is called the Göbekli Tepe, and that giant circle dates back to 12,000 years ago. And it's supposed to be it's a Stone Age mountain sanctuary. It's the oldest religious site yet discovered anywhere, and is proven. It's the oldest religious site discovered anywhere. And here's the really interesting thing: it has animals drawn on it that weren't even supposed to be there. Like they're like rainforest animals and shit, you know, and like dolphins and stuff. And I don't know, I'm making shit up now, but all I'm saying is like all the scientists are saying that this is newer. Like, it's complicated. The scientists say that this thing is newer than it is, but the archaeologists say no way, this stone is 12,000 years old. So what the scientists are saying, what the scientists are saying is like, hey, they were just hunter-gatherers. Like, no, they didn't just go hike 5,000 miles to a rainforest and bring animals back. Like, what the hell? No, that's retarded. And then Graham Hancock actually discovered a lot of monuments himself. For example, there's a monument that is... Okay, it's called it's underwater, okay, in Egypt. It's called the Ugandi Dive, and Graham Hancock has done it 200 times. He discovered, oh, and I will link his website, by the way. I already did. I already said I was going to link that. Okay, so I'm going to link that, and you can see the pictures yourself. I'm going to go ahead and pull them up real quick. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. So here's the thing. That's a really difficult dive, okay? Like, you need years and years of experience to be able to do this dive, because you run into a massive underwater current that you don't want to get swept away, and you're kind of like swimming upstream the whole time, so you got to be like really fit to do it too, and like you got to be a really, really experienced diver to go down there and see this. And Graham Hancock did it 200 times, and you can go on his website and see these pictures. Here's the thing, when they took, so apparently like nobody wants to listen to Graham Hancock for some reason, because he's like a conspiracy theorist too, so they're like, nah, fuck your opinion. And apparently there was like one archaeologist or scientist. There was one fucking guy. One guy. His name, okay, his dumbass name was Dr. Shock. One guy went down there, looked at him, and Graham Hancock says he doesn't even think he got down there, because you have to be so experienced at diving. And this guy like didn't know how to dive. It was like the second time he'd ever dove anywhere in his life. And he says he went down there and saw this shit, and that it was caused by water erosion. Water erosion on the rocks, creating these monuments. No, if you're looking at these monuments with me right now, click the link. Look at this. This is not natural. Somebody built this shit. Somebody had to build this shit. And this guy is trying to say that like water caused it. Are you kidding me? Like if water was brushing against these rocks, I think you would see dust at the bottom. Or rubble at the bottom. But no, they're just perfectly made. Like, they just got covered up when the sea level rose 10,000 years ago. And so there's your proof right there. And then, like, what other proof do you need? Like, what else are you going to find besides stone? Like, what are you looking at right now? You're looking at a cell phone. You're looking at a computer screen. You're looking at walls, maybe. You're in your fucking doctor's office getting, like, anal probed or something. I don't know. But, I mean... everything around you is going to be gone. And if you don't believe me that everything around you is going to be gone in 10,000 years, I can give you an example of why it could have happened 10,000 years ago. And that's the fact that North America was covered in ice 10,000 years ago. Keep in mind, I'm not talking about Egypt anymore. I'm talking about North America, okay? It was covered in like 2 to 3 miles of ice that was shifting, just grinding the shit out of everything underneath it. Do you think your little cell phone that you're holding right now is going to survive after all the ice just grinds it? I don't think so. If you do, go ahead, leave a comment underneath. Let me know what you think. I don't really know what else to talk about, but I mean, I'm just going to conclude by saying, just by introducing the possibility that civilization is way older than scientists think. Like, they think it's only 5,000 years old, but it's obviously not. So I'm wondering if what happened is we had a better civilization and it was destroyed somehow, whether it be Ark of the Covenant, Ice Age, pretty much anything you can think of. Oh, by the way, what I want to mention is people think like, oh, what? You think like a meteor hit the Earth or something? Like, how often does that happen? But the thing is, I don't think us as humans even grasp time. Like, 1,000 years, you know, you think 1,000 years is a lot, or you think 2,000 years was a lot. Jesus, oh man, Jesus was alive back then. 2,000 years. Oh, we're talking about like 30,000, up to 30,000 years ago, or maybe even more, because when you look at those computers, the Earth is on a wobble. This wobble takes 27,000 years to complete. So what they're saying with the computers is, maybe it wasn't in this 26,000 year cycle that all of this happened. It could have been even older than that, in the 10,000 years into that cycle, which would date everything back to over 50,000 years ago. And people think, you know, nothing's gonna ever happen to the Earth. You know, look at the moon; it's covered in craters. You know, it only takes one meteorite or meteor or asteroid or something to hit that thing every, you know, how often would that happen? Have we ever seen anything collide into the moon? I don't know. Probably not. How long has that shit been there? That's what I'm trying to get at. You know, it had a long time to accumulate those craters that we don't even think about because we're like, well, that shit never happens. All I'm trying to get at here is I think that it could be possible that there was a lost civilization that died out, and you know, maybe like some ancient Egyptians built all this stuff, all this technical stuff, like you need, like if you look at the drill marks in the concrete, it was drilled by a drill that we didn't even develop until the 80s with a pressure of 2 tons. So you're telling me that these ancient Egyptians, guided by some like 16-year-old girl, figured out how to drill through wood or drill through granite with a drill that wouldn't have been invented until fucking 10 or 15,000 years later. You're telling me that they invented that and then pushed on it at a force of 2,000 tons at 4,000 pounds. They pushed on this to grow through that granite. It just I think technology and everything was lost. All the dumb people lived and all the smart people died. Something. We all just turned into cavemen again. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe something came, wiped all our asses out, and then we had to start over again. And then we were just cavemen again. And then maybe, you know, hold on. I mean, couldn't you picture that though? Like, you're a caveman again, and you're like, whoa, dude, what is this huge pyramid thing? This is awesome. Let's go live in it. And, you know, these are holy. Let's bury our kings in it. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, where'd these pyramids come from? They're just like, we did it. We built them, you know. And then now, ever since then, people have been like, oh, yeah, they built them. They said they did. I'm calling bullshit. That's all I want to get at. Okay, I can see that this vlog was almost 24 minutes long. I'm sorry about that. I'll just end you on a note, good note. Oh, and I have 2 buddies coming over today to drink a little bit. It's gonna be fun. New house is almost done. If anybody's wondering, we're pretty much done bringing everything in here. Now I just gotta like build a bunch of shelves and get it set up. It's pretty sweet. And I found out that I'm gonna have to pay like shitloads of money to get my stuff from Virginia back to here. That's gonna be fun. Anyways, until next time, this ends vlog 2.